Hello, 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 and welcome to This Not For We Cooking. I'm your host, Nette, and today I will be cooking pan-seared lamb chops with some inspiration from Africa. Okay, I have me around 2 pounds of the lamb shoulder blade. So I got me 3 nice pieces. And y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Don't forget. Let's get started. Okay, so I cleaned my lamb chops, trimmed off some of the fat, left some of it on because it is good for searing. And all of the descriptions for the spices will be in the all the ingredients for the spices will be in the description. So first I am going to use some of Nette seasoning. Let's see if I can measure this out. Let's say this is around, it looked like around a half a tablespoon. Let's see. Almost. All right, so I'm gonna take that Nette seasoning, and like I said, when you lift your hands up high over the meat to season, you get a more evenly distribution of your seasoning on the meat. So you're just holding it up and you're sprinkling it on. Get a more even distribution of your seasonings. Make sure you're getting it all over. And you know my seasoning has that thyme in it. Thyme is great for meats. I'm gonna also use some fresh thyme and rosemary and some fresh garlic in it. Okay, so we have one side done. So I would say that was like a little bit less than a half of a tablespoon. Got a little meat tenderizer. Sometimes that lamb can be a little tough. So probably like 1/8 of a teaspoon. You want to sprinkle that on your meat also. Just 1/8 of a teaspoon. And get it on there real good. And for my paprika, that is going to be like half of a teaspoon. And this is just for one side of your meat. Like a half of a teaspoon. 1/8 of some white pepper. And a half a teaspoon of your garlic and onion powder on each side. And what I do, I let this sit for like 30 minutes. Let it marinate a little bit. Break down some of this fibers. And then like a 1/8 teaspoon on one side, the salt. And then you want to massage that into your meat good. And I will do the other side. Okay, I'm back and I have seasoned both sides of my lamb chops, my shoulder blade lamb chops, and I am going to let them sit for like 30 minutes before I cook them to let that tenderizer and seasoning kind of break down the meat. And while I'm searing them, I'm going to put some fresh thyme and rosemary and a couple of cloves of crushed garlic. I'm just going to crush it. I'm not going to chop it up. So I'm going to let that marinate, and all of the ingredients will be in the description down below. Don't listen to what I was saying earlier about the measurements, because I had to get them right. Because you know I don't season my food with measuring appliances or spoons or whatever. So I had to get it right. So everything is in the description down below. All the herbs that you would need, the fresh herbs, the seasoning, everything. And I said African inspired because I came across this Nigerian seasoning at my grocery store. And it's Aya Foods, IYA, and it's for grilled steak. Suya. I think it's called Suya. With roasted peanuts. It's an authentic African spice, herbs, peppers, and nuts. And when I tell you this is good over your grilled meat or fish, whatever you want to do, it's good. So I always cook my lamb chops this way, either under the boiler or on top of the stove, pan seared. But first time I used this was yesterday on some steak. Oh my God, it was good. Okay, so I'm going to use this today. So it's Nigerian inspired. And we're going to let that marinate for around 30 minutes, and then we'll come back and sear it. Okay, you want to get you a nice cast iron skillet. Heat it up. Want to add some olive oil to the skillet. And all the ingredients will be in the description below. I'm going to, after I cook, my lamb is halfway through. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to use around 7 to 8 of these thyme leaves with my rosemary. So I have some fresh rosemary and thyme. And I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cloves of garlic. I just smashed them, crushed them, and took the skin off. So let's see if this oil is ready for my meat. I think it could be a little bit hotter. So I'm gonna put all 3 in. And I want to get a good sear, so it needs to be hotter. So what you do is put your lamb in, and you want to get a nice crust brown on each side. Okay, so these have been cooking for 5 minutes on each side. I am going to finish them under the boiler for 5 minutes. But before I do that, I'm going to add my rosemary and my thyme. And 4 tablespoons of butter. And my garlic goes in. You get the juices flowing. I'm gonna put some over the lamb chops. So these babies gonna be finished under the boiler for 5 minutes. So we're gonna get some, tilted and get that butter and that garlic flavor, that rosemary, all that on your lamb chops. Put that on your lamb chops. Get them seasoned well. Alrighty, and these babies are going to go under the boiler less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes or less. Let me just move these around. Alrighty, so 5 minutes under the boiler. And we're gonna take those babies out, continue to baste them, and then we're gonna plate. Okay, so they are ready. 5 minutes in the boiler. Let's get some of that good oil on it. Then you want to let your meat rest too. So you want to just baste it really good. I'm tipping it to get that good oil on it. And that oil has that rosemary and that thyme and that fresh garlic. Can't go wrong. Cannot go wrong. So you got some nice browning on that side. Turn that back over. If you want them cooked medium, you can omit the boiler or do 3 minutes on each side and then 5 minutes in the boiler. But this is how I like them. Looks delish. Alright, so I'm gonna let this rest and then I will plate it for you. Look at all that goodness. You got that garlic, that rosemary, and that thyme. Just delicious. Welcome back, welcome back. And thanks for joining. Do you love that lamb chop with the African inspiring from Nigeria? Now this suri, you just sprinkle it over the top. For that Nigerian flavor. And if you can't get the suri, the suya, I'm sorry. I think I'm saying it right. All my Nigerian brothers and sisters, let me know if I'm saying it right. Suya, I think it is. And sprinkle that on that lamb chop. With a little bit more of that butter, olive oil. It is delish. So you can have this with any of my sides that I prepare. You can prepare your own, but this is a great meat dish, main course. Very, very good, very good. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and bon appetit.